everyone, this is The Last Word and I'm Maria Shakila. Showdown in Parliament like no other. A united opposition put Union Home Minister Amit Shah under fire for his comment on Baba Sahib Ambedkar during his reply in the Rajya Sabha. From Rajya Sabha, Leader of Opposition Mallikarjun Kharge to Shiv Sena UBT Chief Uddhav Thackeray, the opposition upped the ante, calling the BJP casteist and anti-Dalit. The Congress even demanded Home Minister Amit Shah's resignation and protested outside the Parliament. Then came the defense of the Prime Minister, saying that the Congress has indulged in every possible trick to obliterate the legacy of Dr. Ambedkar. In the evening, Home Minister Amit Shah also held a press conference and rebutted Mr. Kharge's demands for his sacking, saying the Congress will sit in opposition for more than a decade. On The Last Word, we ask, who is trivializing Ambedkar? First up, let's listen in to all the reactions which came today.
राजीनामा देकर बाहर आना चाहिए और अगर नहीं देते तो मोदी जी उनको आज किसी ना किसी तरह से बर्खास्त करना चाहिए।
खरगे जी मेरा इस्तीफा मांग रहे हैं, इनको आनंद होता है तो शायद मैं दे भी दूं, मगर इससे इनकी समस्या का अंत नहीं है। अभी 15 साल तक कम से कम उनको वही जगह पे बैठना है जहां वो बैठे हैं। खरगे साहब, मेरे इस्तीफे से आपकी दाल नहीं गलने वाली है।
कांग्रेस पार्टी ने हमेशा बाबा साहब का अपमान किया है। जब बाबा साहब जिंदा थे तो उनका तिरस्कार किया है। इन्होंने तो कांग्रेस पार्टी ने तो अपने ऑफिस में बाबा साहब का फोटो लगाने के लिए भी मना कर दिया था। बाबा साहब के और दो बार चुनाव हराया लोकसभा का। ये तो बाबा साहब का अपमान करने वाले लोग हैं।
ये कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन के खिलाफ है। इन्होंने कहा, ये पहले ही कह रहे थे कि कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन को हम चेंज करेंगे। ये इसके खिलाफ हैं, अंबेडकर जी के खिलाफ हैं, उनकी विचारधारा के खिलाफ हैं। इनका पूरा का पूरा काम अंबेडकर जी ने जो किया और जो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन है उसको खत्म करने का है।
ये अब फैशन हुई है। इतने बार अगर आप भगवान का नाम लेते तो शायद 7 जन्म में आपको स्वर्ग में स्थान मिल जाता। आप होते कौन हो? अंबेडकर जी ने जो एक व्यक्ति ऐसी है, किसी पक्ष की सीमा उनको लागू नहीं होती। हर एक के दिल में महामानव डॉक्टर बाबा साहेब अंबेडकर जी के लिए एक स्थान है।
एक पॉलिटिकल ड्रामा है, वो अपने और में जो स्पॉटलाइट हुआ है कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल स्पीच, कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल डिबेट के दौरान, उससे किसी तरह भी लोगों को डिस्ट्रैक्ट करना चाहते हैं और ये एक पॉलिटिकल ड्रामा है, सिर्फ एक पॉलिटिकल ड्रामा है।
And let me bring in my guests now. Shazia Ilmi, spokesperson of the BJP, joins me. We have Sanjay Jha, political analyst, Neerja Chaudhary, senior journalist, and Anadurai Sarvanan is spokesperson of the DMK. Before I bring in politicians, I want to understand from you, Neerja Chaudhary. 85-minute long speech of Home Minister, one of the finest, I would say, in India's parliamentary democracy history. And here it is being caught in this unnecessary political crossfire of sorts over something which was said. Of course, it is being seen as being taken out of context. There's no denying on that.
Yeah, there are two things here. One, of course, what he said and what is being projected from what I also remember, that he said it's become fashion to say Ambedkar, yes. Ambedkar, whereas the other side is saying Ambedkar is the fashion. There's a difference between the two, to be fair to Mr. Amit Shah. That's not the way he said it. But, the underlying this whole controversy, which has become very unpleasant, ugly, and should not happen, is the importance of the Dalit factor, the importance of B.R. Ambedkar in the lives of Dalits, and it is almost godlike, it's iconic. I mean, we've known it's iconic, but, I was in Bombay, I'll just tell you this, on the 6th of December, when Baba Sahib's, B.R. Ambedkar's Punyatithi, and to see the lakhs of people who came from all over Maharashtra, I myself tracked 6-7 kilometers of lines of people who'd been waiting there since the morning and going to his Samadhi near Shivaji Park. if you talk to them, the way they spoke about him, a young woman who said, "Is Baba Saheb Ambedkar who's made it possible for me to give 500 rupees and do my schooling instead of having to pay 1 lakh." Another said, "I want to be a vakil, like a lawyer, like Baba Saheb Ambedkar, and do for my community what he did," and so on. The aspirational revolution among young educated Dalits, which was visible there. So this is a very potent force in the country today. And the Dalits swung to the opposition and the Congress during the Lok Sabha election. That's why the Congress got 99 seats. They felt that the constitution might be changed with this 400 plus slogan. And to retain that Dalit support, both sides want to do it. So the importance of the Dalit factor, the educated young Dalit, and the place of Baba Saheb Ambedkar in their lives and in now today's the country's life. This is what we are seeing played out. Why it's become so contentious between the two sides.
Yes. So now come in Sanjay Jha before I bring in Shazia Ilmi. What Prime Minister says is that it is this government which has tirelessly worked to fulfill the vision of Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar over the last decade. And he has talked about multiple instances and has said that even the strengthening of SC/ST Act was done by his government. So here is the government which believes in walking the talk. Then what exactly is the Congress party talking about here?
Maria, I think the Prime Minister characteristically has indulged in very disingenuous statements. Let me start by first disagreeing with you that I don't think Mr. Shah's speech is one of the greatest or the finest in India's parliamentary history. And I don't agree with my friend Neerja either that this discussion is rather synthetic or cosmetic at all. On the contrary, I feel that whatever his intent, we are all, seasoned adults here. We watch television, we follow political conversations. The manner in which Mr. Ambedkar's name was mentioned, Dr. Ambedkar's name was mentioned, was definitely disparaging. And I think the larger issue here is that the BJP suffers from a pathological inferiority complex. And the reason behind that is they had no contribution to do in India's freedom struggle, and they had nothing to do with the framing of the constitution. Why is it that repeatedly, from Mahatma Gandhi to Pandit Nehru, and all kinds of differences are alluded when there were none? And if they had differences, they were done in a very mature, and it is pretty normal to have political differences. And the reason why Dr. Ambedkar name has got dragged into this entire controversy is because the BJP ridiculizes or trivializes all our historical icons periodically because they do not have an understanding of India's political history. The second point cannot be ignored, that end of day for the BJP, the entire politics of the Adivasis or Dalits is based on symbolism. It is not, it's like saying we actually have a precedent belonging to the Adivasis and therefore we do good for them. Look at the violence against Dalits that have happened over the last 10 years. And that is a manifestation of their political project. And the important part, please do not ignore this, Maria. I'm not saying this by just being indulging in a partisan warfare, but look at the ideological mentors of the RSS and the BJP and what they had, their view on the constitution. Read Golwalkar. Read RSS leaders, in fact, till recent times. Mr. Sudarshan, read Mohan Bhagwat's speeches where he talks about making India into a Hindu Rashtra. Is that having any respect for the Indian constitution? The answer is a categorical no. So let's be honest, it is very unfortunate. I agree with you completely. Political parties trying to appropriate Dr. Ambedkar is bad enough. Disparaging him, I think, is even worse.
So it's the battle of appropriation which is playing out here, Shazia Ilmi. And, what started on as BJP completely being on the front foot with the debate in the Lok Sabha and also in the Rajya Sabha, did it go wrong somewhere?
Not at all. I think the way Amit Shah ji yesterday lambasted the opposition, completely equipped with the arsenal called facts of history, details, dates, all the words, all the actions, made and done by the Congress party, starting from Nehruji, just kind of showed Congress not just a mirror, but put them totally not just on the back foot, but it made them huddle and they have their backs to the wall, which is why they had nothing to come up with but one 11-second clip, which they thought they will twist out of context, like they had used an AI-generated fake audio statement of Amit Shah ji during the Lok Sabha elections. And that is why I think they're so flummoxed, because one after the other, whether it's a matter of Bharat Ratna, whether it's a matter of Nehru ji campaigning against Ambedkar, and not just that, but making it a prestige issue, but ensuring that he loses both the times. Not just about making memorials not 1 but 5, and that's something that has been given a go by the Congress party all these years, but to the fact that talking about Ambedkar ji's differences with Nehru's idea of the foreign policy when it came to Pakistan, the whole idea of the Muslim personal law and looking away, and Hindu code bills that we know all about, to Nehru's own statements written in his own book, and to Ambedkar ji's own book, My Thoughts on Pakistan. So all these are facts. They are there in the public domain. But for the first time, and I'm so grateful and thankful to Rahul Gandhi for calling for this Samvidhan discussion, that all facts have been laid bare. And I learned now so many new things, as do many Indians, younger Indians too, that, oh my God, what was Congress party really up to? What was this Nehru-Indira Gandhi dynasty up to? And how selfish and self-vested they have been, that they have compromised not just with the constitution several times over and played loose and fast with the rules and all that, the democratic values enshrined in the constitution, but actually have gone against Jawaharlal Nehru, Ambedkar, starting from Nehru to Indira Gandhi. So I think we just got a real deep perspective, historical facts that were not there before. And who can refute them? So they can't refute it. Can they refute Bharat Ratna, that why was it denied for 50 years? Can they refute the fact that Nehru ensured that he gets himself one in 55 and Indira Gandhi gets in 71? Can they refute the fact that Nehru campaigned against Ambedkar ji? Can they refute the Hindu code bill and what Ambedkar ji had to say about it? Can they refute the fact that on the issue of Pakistan, how they stood on different places altogether? They cannot refute all those facts. You see, they're there. So, and also Nehruji's views after Ambedkar ji left, and left with a lot of remorse and anger. Those are facts.
Essentially, the argument here is that when it comes to facts, the opposition has no points, and hence they are looking at a small part of that entire 185-minute long speech. That is the charge that is coming against you, Saravanan Annadurai. Will you respond to that?
See, this issue is not about Congress and the BJP. This is not an issue, Congress versus BJP, where the BJP can conveniently come and say here, see what Nehru said, what the Congress did. This is all about what the BJP is doing now. How the BJP, with its Manuwadi mindset, has totally destroyed the opportunities. See, this is just symbolic. What Mr. Shah spoke in the parliament is derogatory. There can be no doubt about that. What has prevented him from asking an apology? He cannot. He cannot say what he has said. Yeah, the tone, the way he had spoken, everybody, his the tone of and how he equates. That instead of chanting the name of Ambedkar, he should have chanted God's name. This is antithetical to Dr. Baba Saheb's own philosophy.
I think it's a lot
he was opposing these kind of things, and Mr. Amit Shah has the temerity, has the audacity to compare. Why are you chanting his name? Chant God's name. That is why our youth wing leader, Sports Minister of Tamil Nadu, Mr. Udayanidhi Stalin, says let him not do this postman's job. That is not the job of Mr. Amit Shah. Let him do something for the common man. And the way the reservation, how the RSS has played against reservation. These people are speaking about how Mr. Nehru, how the Congress opposed the Hindu Code Bill. What did the RSS do? the Jansangh do? They likened it to an atom bomb. That is how they were against Ambedkar. That same mindset is now continuing. Probably they are not able to take the fact that the SCs and STs and the OBs of this country have risen up. They have understood the evil designs of the Hindutva peddled by the BJP. That is why that their anger is now pouring out, openly pouring out. Mr. Amit Shah should apologize. And probably Mr. Mallikarjuna Kharge is seeking that Mr. Amit Shah should be sacked.
Okay.
If not for this, then for what
Shazia,
else?
will you respond quickly on that and then I bring in others?
Yes, I want to respond. I think the real questions cannot be answered. The actual the way history has been, the kind of treatment accorded to Nehru, to Ambedkar by Nehru, is something that cannot be denied. And on the instance and the conversations around the Constitution, a lot has been said and a lot has been recorded. And I think a lot of revisitation of the history of India since 1950 has been unveiled. And all of it goes to say one thing, that whether it was Indira Gandhi or Nehru, they actually thought they were masters of the land. They always talked and referred to a very tall leader such as B.R. Ambedkar only as a Dalit leader. And because they did not want him to stand some kaksh, at the same level as them. And which is why they totally, whether it was Jagjeevan Ram later on, but right from the beginning, they made sure, the Nehru dynasty and all the believers of it and the stooges, that he never gets the stature that Nehru got, that Mahatma Gandhi got. They ensured, just as they did with Lal Bahadur Shastri or Sardar Patel or Subhash Bose. So I think it's very, very clear that again, when the debate was being heard by all, Congress had no option because they have nothing to say when it comes to real answering of facts as to why they have been so unconstitutional, anti-constitution and against Baba Saheb Ambedkar. They actually worked against what Baba Ambedkar stood for. Look at the example, UCC, enshrined in directive principles.
Yeah, can I come in?
Waqf is not.
Yeah, Maria, can I come in?
Waqf is not. But but where UCC is concerned, they resisted. At that point of time, Muslim personal law could have been codified, but they did not do that. But it was Hindu code bill that they fought on. And yes, and Ambedkar, when the fourth bill came, he refused to be a part of it. And they did, and he was against the anti-reform stance of Nehru. So those are very real things that have happened.
Go ahead.
No,
Congress has a lot to answer for.
Yes.
All this bunkum about some words.
Maria,
What are the words
see the RSS burnt RSS.
बोलते रहते हैं अगर भगवान का याम इतना लिया हो जाता तो अब स्वर्ग पहुंच जाते.
Can I come in, Maria?
I don't understand.
She had spoken enough.
Yes, go ahead. Go ahead.
See, the RSS burnt the effigies of Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru and Dr. Ambedkar on what? On the Hindu code
as
bill.
well as Nehru's.
So
because
their anti-Dalit mindset is continuing even now. If you look at the appointments, see, for a small example, I will point out the appointments from 2018 to 2024. 600 High Court judges have been appointed. How many SC/STs were appointed? Is this the idea of the BJP of social justice? If there is one party which is against social justice, which is against empowering the SC and STs, which is the dream of Dr. Ambedkar, that is the BJP party. Every possible opportunity, they are oppressed. For everything, we have to approach the courts. We have to fight them for reservation. We'll have to do that. Why the BJP is opposed to caste census? Why are they not doing that?
Why are you opposed to caste census? Why didn't you reveal it in the Karnataka?
We want a caste census to happen.
What happened to you?
We want a caste census to happen so
How
that
was
the SC/STs, their true representation in the population will be reflected and the reservation could be improved. See, this is not just about, this is not just, see, look at that. Look at that intolerant mindset of the BJP. They are not able to answer. They are not able to take the criticism put out by me. They are started heckling me. Imagine. You don't have 400 seats. You don't have 400 seats. You are just 240. So shut up and listen to what we are saying.
Talk properly.
See,
No, shut
we
up.
want consensus. Why do we want consensus? Because
Behave
it
yourself.
is
No,
the
shut up.
present
Don't shut up,
reservation which is
sir.
capped
Okay,
at
you have to be
which-
careful with your language. You have to be careful with your language, Sharvana, and that's not
Yeah.
how debates
Yes,
happen.
yes, yes,
so
yes.
please
Yeah.
apologize.
See,
we
see.
will not go further with this.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, yeah, see,
inappropriate. That's completely
What is
unacceptable.
inappropriate? What is inappropriate?
No, you
Shouting over
cannot
me.
ask
Hey,
a
shut up,
fellow
you
panelist to
panelist.
shut up. That's not allowed.
Because
that's not how I hold discussions.
When I'm not given an opportunity, when I'm not
No,
given an opportunity, when I'm speaking,
no matter
and
what,
when my
you will
voice
not
is
speak that
drowned
way on
out,
my show.
when my voice is
Let's
drowned
bring
out,
it. No,
I don't think
let's
it is
have Neerja Chaudhary on the show now. Let's have Neerja Chaudhary on the screen. Neerja Chaudhary.
Yeah.
Neerja Chaudhary, my question here is that there was this sense certainly that the BJP and the Treasury benches, given the quality of arguments that they had put forth, it starts with Rajnath Singh, then ends with Prime Minister Modi in the Lok Sabha. It starts with Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman in the Rajya Sabha and ends with Home Minister Amit Shah. They had elevated the entire nature of discussion. The points being made by Home Minister Amit Shah in his 85 minutes long speech was that there were 77 amendments carried out by the Congress during its regime of 65 years. And then he made that made that comparison between the nature of these amendments and why he says that these were done for the interest of the Congress party and the Gandhi family, vis-a-vis the number of amendments that were carried out by his government, including 101st Amendment, which had to do with GST. So the nature of arguments certainly which were put forth by the BJP and the Treasury benches was solid. They had done full strong research, which that's how it came across. Do you think now there was that attempt to perhaps manage it somehow, and that is the reason why they got that opportunity with that, many say, as slip of tongue?
I don't know, Maria, about this one, but I do know that what we did not get in the 2 days of the Constitution debate is a holistic picture. Of course, there is the dark side of Indira Gandhi and the emergency, and we'll take a long time to live that down. We all know how the Constitution was changed and the fundamental rights of citizens violated, press freedom, press censorship. We've lived through all that. But that is not the whole of Indira Gandhi either. It is Indira Gandhi, the creator of Bangladesh, Indira Gandhi, who helped bring about a green revolution, and many things like that. Privy purses, she abolished nationalization of banks, and so on and so forth. So also Nehru, you can disagree with Nehru, but he was the builder of modern India's institution. So what I'm saying, that is true of all the regimes. You can certainly, of course, the BJP has not been in power for as long as the Congress. So Congress is guilty of many more sins it has committed vis-a-vis, what we call the dark periods. But what I found it was a lost opportunity. There was nothing uplifting in that debate. It was you marshaled your arguments, you got your facts right, both sides did it, you abused each other, but you did not make me feel 75 years of India's constitution, the glorious journey you were supposed to discuss. Okay. You did not. You did not fire me or the young people. What is the plan for the future?
I'm very sorry to...
All right, we've really come to the end of this discussion because there's a piece of breaking news that is coming in now. Shazia Elmi, Neerja Chaudhary, Sanjay Jha and Saravanan, thank you so much for joining us. In fact, the Joint Parliamentary Committee on One Nation, One Poll has been formed. There are 21 MPs from the Lok Sabha in the JPC. Anurag Thakur, who is a member of parliament of the BJP, Bansuri Swaraj from the BJP are part of it. From the Congress, you have Priyanka Gandhi Vadra and Manish Tiwari. Also, in part, as part of the JPC is Supriya Sule of the NCP Sharad Pawar faction, Dr. Shrikant Eknath Shinde as well, who is the son of the Deputy Chief Minister of Maharashtra. Eknath Shinde's son is part of it. Then you have likes of Dharmendra Yadav from the Samajwadi Party and Kalyan Banerjee representing the TMC. And then there will be another 10 members from the Rajya Sabha. So in all, it will be a 31-member committee, which is a joint parliamentary committee, which will be deliberating over the 190 second amendment, 129th amendment to the bill, which will essentially bring in ONOP, as we colloquially talk about, which is one nation, one election. Of course, it's a long way to go for this, but the Joint Parliamentary Committee picture is now clear. The list is out. With that, it's a wrap from me. Of course, this will be put up before the Lok Sabha tomorrow. But for the moment, Vishnu is right here in the studio.
Mari, thank you very much. We've got an exciting episode of Left, Right and Centre coming up in just a few moments. What is coming up is that big Parliament face-off on the entire issue of Ambedkar. We'll be looking at that very closely. Also, the National Security Advisor in Beijing, important talks with the special representative of China, Wang Yi, on the border question. He's also met the Chinese foreign minister. We ask whether the dragon can be trusted. And finally, a real twist, a real turner when it comes to R. Ashwin, the great Indian spinner who's now resigned from all forms of international cricket.